from the Hill. White House Correspondents Association head, the public can no longer trust pool reports under White House control. Can I just simplify this for you guys? The White House Correspondents Association, which was basically a news cartel, which was full of individuals who lied the entire time under the first Trump term and under Biden, are now saying we can't trust the pool reports because they don't have control, but some random people might be in there. Are you a member?
I am a member of the White House Correspondents
cartel.
Association. I am in the cartel.
Oh.
I have blue membership, which is the second tier because I don't cover the White House every day. And I've been a member since 2019.
Are they evil?
They're not good people. I can tell you that. Some of them are good people, I assume, as Trump would say. But okay, so the meltdown over this is hilarious because the White House uses the pool system as a means of gatekeeping for legacy media. I mean, really, the entire WHCA is orchestrated to protect the friends among the legacy media and corporate media. I mean, the WHCA, for those who don't know, assigns the seats in the briefing room. The White House doesn't do that. They get to pick all those rows, and they are the ones who put all the corporate media in the first two rows. So those are the people always getting called on at the briefings. And there's a bunch of outlets that don't have seats in the briefing room at all. When I was at The Spectator, I didn't have one. Karine Jean-Pierre didn't call on people in the aisles. So if you didn't have a seat assigned by the WHCA, then you were SOL when it came to getting a question during the Biden admin. But the pool is a rotating group of journalists. There's 30, I believe, in the print pool. And when it's your day, you get to basically go to the events that are technically non-public or not open to the full press. And you report on the events and you send a report to the rest of the press pool so that they can get the information when space is limited and what have you. But the way that they organize the pool is that they're like favorite 30 outlets, and they'll throw in 2 or 3 conservative outlets to make it look fair. Get to go in every day. The cameras get the perfect setup from all of the corporate legacy media outlets. They get to go in first, set up their cameras, and often the pool will collude with each other on what questions they're going to ask before they even go in. So my friend Reagan Reese, who's the White House correspondent for the Daily Caller now, actually witnessed these corporate media journalists saying, if we all go in and just one of us yells a question, then we have a more likely shot of Biden answering it. So we should actually just coordinate on what our one question is going to be among the 6 of us. So it's a joke. And now what the White House Correspondents Association is doing in response to this news that the White House is going to take over the pool rotation is they have now stopped sending pool reports at all. I think they've actually deleted the email, which is like all at whpoolreports.com. And this was seen as so insane by even members of the White House Correspondents Association because now you get zero access to the White House events that you can't get into as a reporter, that they are now forwarding emails from people who are in the pool now. But they won't refer to it as a pool report anymore because they're so butthurt. Now they're calling it White House notes.
Yeah, I have reached out to some of our contacts, and I just want to say for everybody who watches this show, it's looking really good for independent access. You may see some big things coming out of the White House with not just us, but many other shows. I think we're going to see some massive changes to how the press is handled. This booting of the White House Correspondents Association is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I despise the journalism industrial complex, and I look forward to periodically hearing a question from a podcaster I've never heard of.
Every last person that was a member of the White House press pool, that was, whether they be a member of the White House Correspondents Association or not, every last person that was in the pool should be permanently barred from the White House,
except for Daily Caller,
forever, because
no exceptions.
I'll say fine for the purposes of this argument, but Jake Tapper's about to release a book called Original Sin.
Oh. Here we go.
And it is about how everyone knew that Joe Biden was a walking corpse. Jake Tapper was instrumental in spreading.
Pull this up, Serge.
Was instrumental in spreading the Russia collusion BS.
Yes.
These people are in no position, absolutely no position to criticize anyone. They're not in a position to criticize Alex Jones when he was talking about the frogs turning gay.
Well, to be clear, Alex Jones was talking about atrazine.
Yes.
And studies that showed it caused endocrine disruption, and he was in a jokingly kind of way saying it's making them gay.
Yes, it was more true than anything these people
Now
were saying.
they have put up studies after the fact saying they're not sure that atrazine actually was an endocrine disruptor, but we do have. First, I'm going to give you the context. Original sin. President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. Jake Tapper, hero of CNN, exposing the corporate press for covering up Joe Biden. My favorite piece is going to be when Jake Tapper exposes Jake Tapper.
Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have
to
no.
watch somebody on stage
I can't.
search
It's so
for
amazing.
questions
It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive
Well,
decline.
when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses, diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends.
I'm really excited to read the chapter in his book where he talks about how the media was covering up Joe Biden's cognitive decline, and then he brings up CNN as one of the principal drivers in covering up Joe Biden's decline. And man, when Tapper calls out Jake Tapper for claiming that Biden said a stutter, I'm going to be so excited.
Every last one of them deserves to be homeless and destitute for the rest of their lives.
Well,
so
that's mean. Look,
Yes, I know it's mean.
No. I have no problem if they're making my cheeseburgers for me. Just don't spit in them. The fries, I like them a little well done, a little extra salt.
What's so annoying to me about this is, a lot of people have been saying Alex Thompson was good at this. He is a good reporter. He came out with a piece about Biden's cognitive decline, I believe, before the debate, if not shortly after, and was willing to talk about it when the Democratic Party hadn't decided if it was okay or not yet. That's a little too much credit for Alex Thompson, because from this clip, you see people notice this on the campaign trail in 2020. I mean, I wrote an article, I think in September, ahead of the election, about Biden's schedule being less than a typical 40-hour working week. Like, he was working an average of 30 hours on the campaign trail, running for the most important job in the world. So I don't give Alex Thompson that much credit, but out of the mainstream media journalists, he was one of the better ones in terms of calling out Biden's cognitive decline. And so for him to hitch his wagon to Jake Tapper, who was complicit in the cover-up, I don't know why he would damage his credibility like that unless they're getting a really fat paycheck for this.
Of course they are. How many days did the Biden administration call a lid at 1
I can tell you
p.m.?
that 1
At
second.
1 p.m. How many days did they say Biden has done too much work at 1 in the afternoon?
Yeah, they called it brunch lid. So I wrote this article in July of 2023 called Biden's Bougie Brunch Lid. And it was about the number of brunch lids they were calling. And from a rough count of White House poll reports so far this year, this is from January to July of 2023, they had called a brunch lid 42 times, and they called a lunch lid 39 times. That's just in a 6-month period. And the brunch lid apparently got so much backlash after this piece came out that members of the White House communications team and members of the White House Correspondents Association instructed White House correspondents to stop using the term because of the negative optics, saying that it didn't deserve to be in the official record of the White House. They're the ones who came up with it.
None of them deserve any of your sympathy. None of them deserve to be in the White House anymore.
But they do deserve your disdain.
Yes, they do.
But
They've
what if
earned
the
it.
forward is Jake Tapper issuing a mea culpa?
Then I don't care. Not
He's
good
making
enough.
money off it.
Yeah, I don't care.
He also needs to do a mea culpa on the Trump Tower story because he was one of the authors on that and might have won a Pulitzer Prize for it.
Was it Jake Tapper who said you're not allowed to have the DNC emails? That was him, right?
That
Remember?
sounds right.
When the emails got
yeah.
released, it
Yeah.
was. It might have been him. I'm not sure, but
Don't
on
buy his
CNN,
book.
they're like, it's illegal for people to have these emails, so you can't have them, but we are allowed to have them. It's like that's not true.
Don't buy his book. You should definitely pirate it.
No, you should not. Don't read that garbage.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised that this is what we're getting from the corporate press. The CNN Jake Tapper story is absolutely hilarious. But, I've worked in media for some time now, And I remember going to these events, and going to various universities and news events. These people are the elite of the elite. It is capital city in the Hunger Games. That's who these journalists are. I mean, have you guys seen images of the White House Correspondents Association? What these people dress like? They dress like capital city in the Hunger
Daniels.
Games. Yeah. But it's like go watch Hunger Games in the capital city in the weird clothes. That's what they dress like. So they are removed from the regular public. They view themselves as a cartel. They think they're entitled to things. We had who was it on the show? Nick Sorter was saying that he was at the Capitol and someone came up to him yelling him, but wasn't allowed to be there. And he thought it was a staffer or something. Turns out it was a journalist. And he was like, what? Like, why are they yelling at me? What? Because they think they're entitled.
Yeah, and Eugene Daniels is the person you're most referring to because he's the president of the White House Correspondents Association, and there's been pictures circulating of some of his outfit choices and his painted nails and things of that nature. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. But he actually asked the Daily Caller to sign on to the Associated Press's defense letter when the Trump administration said you're no longer allowed to cover Oval Office events or fly on Air Force One. And I was like, we would never sign your letter because you did nothing the past 4 years when Biden clamped down on access on independent and conservative outlets. He hit me back and was like, I'd love to talk about how we can better support you. And I responded, I'm like, sure, I'll talk to you. No reply, ghosted me. So he only cared when it was to benefit his friends at the Associated Press. And then as soon as that letter was out, I was useless to him again.
They deserve your disdain. You should not feel bad for any of them. They should not be allowed access because I've said this before. The thing that these people want more than anything else is access. They want to be the cool insiders in D.C. Well, they want to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner and get dressed up in ballroom regalia.
And that's what blue check Twitter verification was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it was overwhelmingly journalists that were verified on Twitter before Elon took it. They intentionally, Twitter was smart about this. They said, these are people who control the flow of information through these media outlets. Let's suck up to them and make them feel special so they will pander to us. And that's how they would try to get favorable news coverage in the way they wanted it. And then Elon took their blue checks away and they cried so hard. It was really funny because there'd be, I remember the Wall Street Journal had a reporter with 200 followers and he was verified. And there's a lot of prominent individuals in independent media. So for me, my story was, and I look, people are like, Tim's just telling us another story about himself, but I don't know anybody else or their stories. No one's told me the stories about how they got screwed over, how verified. I had 30-something thousand followers. I had a bunch of videos, and activists were like, why aren't these people being verified? I wasn't working for anybody. That was the reason. It wasn't until I joined Vice that Vice called Twitter and said, verify Tim Pool, and overnight had a verification. These same activists were upset because they were like, here's a guy with 200 followers who's verified and nobody knows who he is. And he was an editor at the Wall Street Journal. Why was he verified? Because he was a journalist, and journalists are special people.
That's right. I had one of those.
See?
Yep.
You were a special verification.
I confirm. Yep.
How did you get verified?
Because I worked for a news outlet.
And they called Twitter and said, do it?
There was some submission form.
What? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. This was in 2017 or 18, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Early on, they had the submission forms you could submit to verify. The original intention of it was anybody could verify their accounts to prove they were who they said they were. And then they deactivated the ability to do it because too many people were doing it, I guess. And they didn't want to pay for it. So then they had an editorial team giving badges to people, and verification didn't mean you were who you were. It meant special person. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.